All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're diving into a hidden, literal turf war that is happening right beneath our feet in Cumberland, Rhode Island. Most of us don't really think about our pipes until something goes terribly wrong, right? But the data clearly shows that if you own property here, your plumbing system is actually fighting a daily, grinding battle against the local environment. The stakes here are absolutely massive. It's essentially your home versus the highly unique geography of the Blackstone Valley. The very landscape that makes living in this area so incredibly beautiful is exactly what's putting immense, unseen pressure on your home's infrastructure. It is definitely not a matter of if the environment is going to test your plumbing, but when. To really unpack this conflict, we're going to follow a quick roadmap today. We'll start with geography versus your pipes, move through the danger of aging systems and anatomy of a plumbing crisis, and then wrap things up with the hyperlocal professional solution and protecting your Rhode Island home. Okay, Section 1. Geography versus your pipes, the invisible battleground. Let's look at how Cumberland's specific location creates a constant looming threat. Here's the deal. The very ground you walk on in Cumberland is actively fighting against your rigid plumbing infrastructure. The town sits heavily on what geologists call glacial till. Now, because this clay-heavy soil expands so much when it gets wet, especially during those massive spring thaws we get, it physically shifts your pipe connections. It can literally crack solid concrete foundation walls. Your pipes are basically being squeezed and pulled apart by the earth itself. And what's wild is just how hyper-local these threats actually are. I mean, what destroys pipes up in Diamond Hill is completely different from what you'd see near Abbott Run. If you're down by Abbott Run or the Blackstone River, your main enemy is a high water table causing foundation settlement and broken sewer laterals. But up in Diamond Hill, well, you're dealing with rocky glacial till and the constant nightmare of pipes freezing in split-level cross spaces. And over by Sneech Pond, the challenges shift entirely to well water and geography, causing improperly installed PEX systems to just fail under pressure. It's a completely different war depending on your zip code. Moving on to Section 2, the danger of aging systems, when time and climate collide. This is exactly what happens when our harsh geography meets pre-1980s construction. Take a look at those older, classic homes, particularly the ones along Mendon Road. Their aging galvanized pipes are honestly no match for the resilience of modern corrosion-resistant materials. Before 1980, galvanized steel was the gold standard. But as we're learning the hard way, steel corrodes from the inside out. It restricts your water flow and actually fills your water supply with rust particles. Today's standard relies on materials like Type L copper or PEX-A, which are specifically designed to fight off that internal breakdown. It's really a systematic breakdown, slowly choking the life out of older plumbing systems. First off, Rhode Island's groundwater is slightly acidic, which drastically hits the fast-forward button on the corrosion of old steel pipes. Meanwhile, over in the historic monastery area, those beautiful, mature trees, they are silently sending their roots deep into aging cast-iron sewer lines. Oh, and if you're on a private well, the hard water is calcifying and completely destroying your original water heater way before its time. Which brings us to Section 3, Anatomy of a Plumbing Crisis, Hyperlocal Disasters. Let's dive into what these unseen pressures actually look like when they finally snap. 20 degrees. That is the magic and honestly dangerous number in Cumberland. When the winter temperature drops below 20 degrees for an extended stretch, the water and supply lines running through unheated spaces just stops moving. The pipes in the exterior walls and crawl spaces of those split-level homes we talked about, they freeze, the ice expands, and boom, the pipe bursts. We're talking hundreds of gallons of water flooding a home before anyone even realizes what happened. And hey, the extreme cold isn't the only temperature issue. You might have actually experienced the deeply frustrating cold water sandwich effect. Basically, you're in a nice hot shower and suddenly get blasted with freezing water before it turns hot again. That's actually a huge warning sign. It means your water heater is losing its battle, overwhelmed by hard water sediment building up in the tank. It's a localized failure screaming for your attention. And please, whatever you do, never ignore a slow drain. It is literally step 2 of a massive, super expensive disaster. It starts quietly, right? Tree roots slip into the joints of an old clay or cast iron sewer line. Next, you notice the sink or shower taking just a little longer to empty. If you brush it off, that partial blockage catches debris until it solidifies like a rock. The next thing you know, raw sewage is backing up straight into your basement, and you're scrambling to call in emergency crews for camera inspections and high-pressure hydrojetting. All right, Section 4, the hyper-local professional solution. Local knowledge meets code. Let's talk about why generic, one-size-fits-all fixes just flat-out fail here.
48 inches. To survive the brutal freeze-thaw cycle we've been talking about, supply lines have to be buried below Rhode Island's strict 48-inch frost line. If some out-of-state contractor doesn't know our local depth requirements and buries a pipe at, say, 30 inches, it is absolutely guaranteed to freeze and fail. Local knowledge isn't just a nice-to-have, it's structurally mandatory.
This is exactly why you can't just hire a random, unlicensed handyman to fight these environmental threats. It takes serious, code-compliant engineering. The professional playbook in Cumberland means strictly adhering to Rhode Island master license standards and pulling the right permits through the Cumberland Building Department. Because of the heavy spring runoff, especially along Abbott Run, putting in battery backup sump pumps isn't a luxury. It's survival. It's about using the right materials like Type L copper to fight that acidic water and demanding hard camera inspection data before anyone starts digging up your yard to replace a sewer lateral.
Finally, Section 5, Protecting Your Rhode Island Home, Prevention and Defense. We've seen the threats, so how do we actually defend our property and our wallets?
If the absolute worst happens and your sewer backs up, you need to follow these 4 critical steps right away to minimize the damage. Number 1, stop using water completely. I mean it, no flushing, no hand washing. Number 2, keep everyone, pets included, far away from that raw sewage. 3, grab your phone and document the whole mess with photos for your insurance adjuster. And 4, call in a professional with video inspection and hydrojetting gear to completely obliterate that blockage. And listen, if a pipe bursts in the dead of winter, knowing the exact location of your main shutoff valve in your Cumberland basement is the only thing standing between you and a totally flooded house. Seriously, stop what you're doing today and go find this valve. It's usually right where the service line enters your home, typically in the basement, near the front wall facing the street. If it's a wheel, remember, turn it clockwise. And test it once a year. You definitely don't want it seizing up right when you need it the most. Another pro tip, regularly check your water pressure. It should sit happily right in this 40 to 60 psi sweet spot. By checking this, you can actually spot hidden corrosion way before a pipe completely fails. If your pressure is constantly sitting below 40 psi, you might be dealing with corroded galvanized pipes, sediment choking your water heater, or even tree roots crushing your main service line. It's such an easy vital sign to check, and it gives you a fantastic window into the overall health of your entire system. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this question. Is your home truly prepared for the unique geographical war being waged on it right now? The expanding clay soils, those freezing 20-degree winters, the acidic groundwater, they literally never stop testing your home's plumbing. So go take a look at your basement, check your water pressure, and for sure find that shutoff valve. Because living in Cumberland, the absolute best defense against our geography is being prepared.